AMD. We are up $122,000 in AMD stock so far in the public account. That is small money compared to how much I'll be up on AMD in just 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. We're going to get into some extremely important things that happen on the conference call. We got to get into what's going on with AMD in the future because that's what really matters for this company. We will look at last quarter's numbers, but what's really important is what's coming this next quarter and what's coming in 2026. Okay. Now, additionally, Wall Street selling the stock off here today. Okay. Let me make a very clear point at the beginning of this video. They're clueless, completely clueless on what's going on with AMD, the chip cycle, everything that's happening here, the rack scale deployments that's coming for this company. And you might think, oh, Wall Street's so smart. They know their stuff. They're not clueless. They're justified with their sell off today. No, they are not. Okay. These are the same folks that sold Meta under $100 back in 2022. They're the same folks that will pay $764 for Meta stock today. They're clueless. They're the same people that sold Palantir at $6 in 2022, and they're the same people that are bidding it up here today at $178 for the same exact company with the same exact CEO. They didn't understand the product cycle. They didn't understand anything about the business model. Okay, SoFi, it's the same stock they were selling off at $6 last year. And it's the same company with the same CEO and the same product suite that now they're willing to pay $21 for. Okay, they're clueless on what's coming for this company. And I'm here to clarify things for everybody out there, okay? I appreciate you guys. I hope you appreciate me. This is my last video I'm recording in New York City before I head back to Vegas. I'm under the weather. I've been recording these videos in Georgia for you guys, in North Carolina, now New York City, and I hope you guys appreciate it. It's been a good time, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to home, back in Vegas. So one thing only I need from you guys, and it's for you to smash the thumbs up button. That's all I need from you. I hope you can do that for me, for recording all these videos for you guys, keep you up to date with everything that's going on. This earnings craziness. I know, Celsius earnings will be coming out, Elf earnings will be coming out, but then people are going to want my opinion on those stocks. It's just, you guys are relentless, okay? And I hope you appreciate, me trying to keep you up to date with all this stuff, okay? Now, AMD, we got a phenomenal group of AMD investors, a lot of major AMD investors. We're always keeping each other up to date with everything going on with AMD. What's happening, understand the company on a higher level. If you're interested in joining my private stock group, getting access to the AMD chat along with all the others, and access to all my course curriculum so you can get yourself up to a higher level. Because there's a lot of people, even in AMD stock or a lot of these stocks, Palantir, that don't really understand how to play this game on a higher level. So pinned comment down there if you want to get yourself to a higher level where you can make confident decisions. You don't feel like you're just gambling money in the market. Because I know there's some people watching this video that you feel like you're just gambling money. You don't really know what you're doing, and we got to get you up to a higher level than that, because that's a miserable feeling, to be honest, in the market. You got to feel confident. Like, I buy AMD stock, I feel confident. Like, I'm not like, I'm gambling. Like, no. I know what I'm doing. Like, I think I'll be looking very good on the stock, and I'm already obviously looking very good, up 6 figures plus. Okay. Alrighty. So AMD, what's going on here? Okay. Listen. In terms of the quarter they just reported, they came in line with EPS estimates, right? And they beat on revenue by $260 million. Okay. So in terms of this last quarter, it was fine. I gave them a B- on the income statement. Like, they had some things that were very good. Revenue up to almost $7.7 billion in the quarter from $5.8 billion. Now, if you look at cost of sales, that one was, a very high number compared to how much revenue was up. 4.3 billion versus 2.7 billion. So that made their cost of sales balloon to 4.6 from 2.9 for this past quarter. Gross profit was still up for the company despite that, to over $3 billion in the quarter. Gross margin fell. A lot of that is due because of the whole China situation. I'm sure you guys are aware, but a lot of their chips were restricted in China. So do keep that in mind. Additionally, income tax, essentially benefit. They had this kind of one-off here that made their numbers look a lot better than expected when it came to profitability. It was $834 million help there. So net income 872, diluted EPS 54. So there's some, it's just very kind of what was expected in regards to this. Now, additionally, when it comes to the balance sheet of this company, cash and cash equivalents went to $4.4 billion. Short-term investments went to $1.4 billion. Long-term debt did increase to $3.2 billion from $1.7 billion. I believe some of that is in part because of the ZT acquisition there. Other long-term liabilities dropped for the company from $1.8 billion to $1 billion there. And total stockholder equity went to, we can call it $59.6 billion from $57.5 billion. And that was just over a 6-month span. So the balance sheet's headed in the right direction. But let's be very crystal clear. The reason I'm invested so heavily in AMD over the past number of months, right, is because of the future for this company. And the future is finally coming here now at this point in time. And this is what's very exciting. No, before we get in the numbers and the nitty gritty and the conference call and the guidance and all those sorts of things, I need to explain this because people don't understand the roadmap of what's going on for AMD when it comes to the AI side, which is what everybody's really excited about, okay? And AMD does have other businesses, and we'll look at those businesses' growth rates in just a moment, but let's be very crystal clear. Everybody that wants to invest in AMD stock is doing so because of the opportunity in this company over, let's call it the next many years when it comes to their AI opportunity, okay? So MI300, let's be very crystal clear about that business model. It's in the warm-up phase, okay? And by the way, my cameras are crazy, so apologize, whatever. MI300, it's like if you know anything about baseball, okay, it's in the bullpen right now. It's warming up. And this is a chip that they've been selling for the last few quarters. This is what was in the last quarter numbers. This is, I would put it like this, okay? It's an introduction to AMD competing with NVIDIA, but it's just an introduction. And so a lot of companies didn't want to go heavy on these chips. They're just kind of like, let's get warmed up here with AMD. Now, the chip they just started to sell in June, that's going to be in this next quarter's numbers, that's MI350 series, okay? The 355X. Listen, this is like, we're in the game now. Okay, this is big time. We're in the game. We're competing against NVIDIA's top chips now at this point in time, and major customers. Like, you think about the biggest customers in the world, they're coming over to AMD to start buying up these chips, okay? So we're now in the game. This starts this quarter. This is the exciting phase. It's just starting, okay? You're going to start seeing these numbers play out over the next several quarters. Now, the MI400, which comes in 2026, that's the game at the most crucial stage. That's when we're talking about massive rack scale deployments at that particular time. The MI400's performance is just ridiculous based upon what Lisa Su's been talking about here. So that is going to be like blow the top off. Okay, but the MI350 series, 355X, this is very, very exciting for the numbers that we're going to start seeing for this company, right? Now here's the deal. The guidance was around $400 million ahead of from what I saw Wall Street estimates were for this next quarter, okay? Now, that's also a huge sandbag, in my opinion, from Lisa Su. I think the company's going to do $9 billion plus easily for this next upcoming quarter. We know Lisa Su likes to be conservative with her numbers. If there's one thing we know with Lisa Su, she's not like some pumper, like going to throw out ridiculous numbers. And if you look, you can look back at the last quarter AMD's been reporting, and look what you're going to find. You're going to find them beating estimates when it comes to revenue again and again and again and again and again. It's been a number of quarters. They just come in and beat revenue, and many times it's by hundreds of millions of dollars. Lisa Su likes to be conservative. I understand that with her guide, right? Additionally, from what I heard, they did not factor in any China sales for this upcoming quarter. So anything positive that happens there, it's going to be like a huge boost to the revenue, like potentially of hundreds of millions of dollars in the quarter. So it's very significant, okay? So my only question for AMD in this next quarter is not, are they going to do $9 billion of revenue? My only question is, are they going to do $10 billion of revenue? That's where I'm at with this one. So the revenue growth estimates, I think people are very, way too conservative with this, and they'll come in and knock the doors off, right? And let's be clear, even if they came in and did the number they said they were going to do, $8.7 billion, you're $400 million ahead of guide. That's still ahead of the street, excuse me. That's still very, very impressive. Let's be very clear about that, okay? It's just we're going next level impressive here. Now, additionally, on a non-GAAP basis, they expect the gross margins to head back up to 54%, which is very, very exciting for this company. Remember, this isn't just a revenue story. It's a revenue story plus margin story plus profitability story, okay? And that's what you're going to see playing out over this next several years here. Now, Remember, we're focusing so much on the data center, and we're going to get into the conference call and some big things that happen in the conference call to let us know about where demand's coming from and how big demand's about to be for their new chips, right? But let's not forget, they have two other major businesses. One is client and gaming, the other is embedded, okay? So let's take a peek. And by the way, the ZT Systems acquisition closed in March 31st. So what's going on with these two businesses that are major businesses for AMD that no one's focused on right now because everybody's so focused on the AI chips? Well, here's what's going on. Client and gaming segment revenue was up 69% year over year in the quarter. 69%. Now, the embedded segment was down 4%. Now, if you don't know anything about the embedded big business for them, you might think that's bad. Like, oh boy, down 4%. Uh-oh. This is ready to flip back positive in a major way, okay? And here's why. Look at this same quarter last year for the embedded segment. The embedded segment at that particular quarter was down 41% versus down 4%. So in my opinion, the embedded segment's about to flip back over to the other side, and you're going to start seeing these embedded segment numbers go up and up and up. And the crazy thing is, like, we could be 2 or 3 quarters in the future, and we could be talking about growth rates that are ridiculous like this. Like what's happening, because the client and gaming segment, like that business was really rough for a while there, right? Like really bad numbers. And then all of a sudden, they flipped, and then now it's ridiculous. It's like 69% growth year over year. So if that happens in the embedded business over the next few quarters, do not be shocked, do not be surprised at all if all of a sudden major growth starts coming from there, okay? No, the big info, in my opinion, came out on the earnings call. Now, on 1000xstocks.com, we have 3 features when it comes to earnings calls for you guys. One is you can just listen to the earnings call regular, right? You can 1.25x speed, 1.5x speed, 2x speed, however you want to do it, right? We also have AI transcripts. They'll basically sift through the conference call and give you what AI believes are the most important things that happen in the conference call, okay, and give you a whole summary there. But the thing I love to show you guys many times is the transcripts. This is the exact words that are coming out of the CEO, CFO's mouth, okay? And some major things happen that I need to show you guys here, okay? First one up here, they talk about cloud, okay? Lisa Su's talking about in cloud, adoption expanded with the largest hyperscalers as they deployed Epic to power more of their mission-critical infrastructure, services, and public cloud products. More than 100 new AMD-powered cloud instances launched in the quarter, including multiple Turin instances from Google and Oracle Cloud. These are the big dogs that you need. If you're going to put up big numbers, you need companies like Oracle, you need companies like Google, okay, that deliver up to twice the performance of our previous generation. Here's one of the most beautiful things that gets underrated, right? And I know a lot of times, we're focused on what the next quarter is going to be for AMD and what the next year is going to be for AMD, but let's take this a little bigger, okay? Listen, AMD is not going to stop innovating after the MI400 chip. This company keeps pushing it forward, And the most beautiful thing for AMD, for NVIDIA, for these other companies is the numbers don't stop pouring in. They keep pouring in. And the reason being is if you're Google, Oracle, Meta, Microsoft, whoever, you've got to keep getting the newest, the best chips. If you don't, you're going to be passed up by performance. It's going to make you look inferior to your competition out there, right? So if AWS is going to go out there and spend, so doesn't Microsoft, so doesn't Google, so doesn't Oracle. You got to keep doing it, right? And so for AMD, they're going to keep pushing performance across their product lineup for years to go in the future. And if you're the big dog companies, you got to keep buying the newest chips, keep expanding, right? Which are already industry highest performing, which is incredible, and they 2x the performance on those. There are nearly 1,200 Epic Cloud instances available globally as providers continue expanding both cloud, with deployments growing significantly from the prior quarter. As we closed large wins with dozens of large aerospace, streaming, financial services, retail, and energy companies there, okay? So cloud remains a big opportunity for the company. Now, turn to the data center. This is a big dog everybody wants to know about, right? Obviously, analysts were asking about the data center business in a massive way, right? Turn to data center AI business. Revenue declined year over year as U.S. export restrictions effectively eliminated MI308 sales to China as we began transitioning to the next generation of MI350 series accelerators. We made solid progress with MI300 and 325. Once again, those chips, listen, those are the introduction to AMD, and why they should be a company that's paid attention to. The MI350 is the big dog. That's that everybody's actually excited about. In the quarter, closing new wins and expanding adoption with tier 1 customers, next generation AI cloud providers, and end users. Today, 7 of the top 10 builders and AI companies use Instinct, underscoring the performance and TCO advantages in data center AI solutions. We launched our Instinct MI350 series with industry-leading memory bandwidth and capacity and broad adoption across hyperscalers, AI companies, and OEMs. From a competitive standpoint, MI355 matches or exceeds B200, that's the big dog from NVIDIA, in critical training and inference workloads, and delivers comparable performance to GB200 for key workloads at significantly lower cost and complexity. For upscale inferencing, MI355 delivers up to 40% more tokens per dollar, providing leadership performance and clear TCO advantages. This is big stuff, guys. This is massive. Because as I told you guys, if AMD can match NVIDIA's performance, right, but they can give it at a cheaper price, they're going to undercut the competition, right? They're going to undercut their competition, and you will see more and more of the big dogs, especially because a lot of these big dog companies, they're going to have to start being more modest with their increases for CapEx in 26 and 27. And so what they're going to end up, in my opinion, going to a lot is AMD, because AMD is going to be the best bang for your buck you can get out there. And so you're going to see massive revenue increases for AMD in 26 and 27 between the chip cycle and the fact that I think a lot of these big dog companies are going to start to focus more on CapEx and be like, we can't increase budgets that much, so we're going to flip part of our budget over to AMD, which is going to be crazy for AMD's revenue margins and profitability. With the MI350 series, we're also expanding our system-level capabilities to support deployments powered by AMD CPUs, GPUs, and NICs. As one example, Oracle is building a 27,000-plus node AI cluster combining MI355X accelerators, 5th-gen EPYC Turin CPUs, and Pollara 400 smart NICs. We began volume production of MI350 series ahead of schedule in June, and so that you didn't even get any substantial MI350 at all in this last quarter. And here's keyword: and expect a steep production ramp in the second half of the year to support large-scale production deployments with multiple customers. Our sovereign AI engagements accelerated in the quarter as governments around the world look to adopt AMD technology to build secure AI infrastructure and advance their economies. Okay, now, this was a key moment right here, okay? With MI400 series, that's more of a middle 2026 and after story, okay, in 2027. But that's going to be once again, as I call it, the blow off top situation for AMD's revenue that you're going to see. Like what's going on with their revenue? With MI400 series, we're bringing together everything we learned across silicon, software, and systems to deliver Helios, a full stack rack scale AI platform. Helios is purpose-built for the most demanding AI workloads, with each rack connecting up to 72 GPUs that can operate as a single massive AI accelerator. Helios is expected to deliver up to 10x generational performance increase for the most advanced frontier models, and we believe it will be the highest performance AI system in the world when it launches. MI400 series deployment is progressing well toward our planned launch in 2026, with significant interest in large-scale deployments from multiple high-profile customers. To accelerate our deployment, we have invested significantly to expand our AI software and hardware capabilities, both organically and inorganically, with a number of acquisitions and strategic investments. We strengthened our software stack last quarter with the addition of our Lemony teams, building on our acquisitions of several other companies. On the hardware side, we added a world-class rack and data center scale design team in the second quarter with our acquisition of ZT Systems. The ZT team is integrated seamlessly and they're actively engaging with multiple customers to accelerate deployments for our Helios solutions at scale. We also announced last quarter that Sanmia intends to acquire ZT Systems' US-based manufacturing business, because obviously AMD is not interested in being in the manufacturing business in any form, which is understandable, right? Now, this gentleman asked about the sovereign opportunity for AMD, right? And Lisa Su said it about this. He said, we're really excited about the overall AI opportunity for us with MI355 and the MI400 series to go in the back half of this year and in 2026. I think there's a very large opportunity with, let's call, hyperscalers, some of the leading AI companies as well as sovereigns. I think sovereigns is additive to that. So sovereigns, listen, the sovereign opportunity, it's a good opportunity, right? It's going to help increase revenues and profits and margins, those sorts of things, but it's not the big opportunity. But it is worth addressing, right? From the standpoint of what to expect, there are some regulatory things that need to be worked through on the sovereign side, right? And I mean, yeah, that's understandable, right? The opportunity here that you're referring to is announced with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I think that's a great example of where, together with the ambitions and our technology, I think you heard, from Tarek that this was an event saying that we would start MI355 and we expect to continue on, likely to MI400, right, into the MI400 series. So the sovereign opportunity, big opportunity for AMD. But it's not the biggest opportunity. The biggest opportunity is with the hyperscalers, with the big dog companies, Meta, Google, Oracle, all these companies, okay? Now, this was very important. Lisa Su says, yes, thanks, Tim, for the question. I think there's, what we said in our prepared remarks, that there's a strong ramp for Q2 into Q3. MI355, we actually started production in June, so we got some shipments sort of in the month of June, but ramping as we go throughout the quarter and into the third quarter. So in terms of guideposts, right, we're going to expect to grow year on year from last year. And I think that on a strong ramp, then we should expect to grow into the fourth quarter as well. The demand, I should say, that we're seeing from our customers is really positive around MI355. Sort of, as I would contrast it, we expect maybe much more extensive ramp than the MI300 ramp, right? Which is what we should expect. I think MI300 started with perhaps smaller deployments. I think what we're seeing with MI355 is very competitive versus a B200 and GB200 family of products. I think we're going to see a strong desire to really use this at scale. The MI355 is very strong for inferencing, okay, which is important because inferencing is the next stage we're really going into. A lot of these models have been all about train the models. Now we're talking about inferencing now at this point in time, okay, which is massive. And that's, Lisa Su said that's a much bigger opportunity. I believe Jensen over at NVIDIA has also said inferencing is a much bigger opportunity long-term than the training models, right? We're also seeing a number of customers on training. There's also a big opportunity for us to build the MI400 series as we go into 2026. So we're bullish on MI355, where the AI opportunity is for us. And I think we're on the right track for what is expected and where we're going with the deployment on the roadmap, right? Big. Like the customers are setting up for the MI400. That's what you got to understand. Like 355 is going to be this huge growth vector for the company. You're going to see revenues explode, but it's all setting up for really the big game, the crucial game, which is the MI400. Okay. Now here talked about, yes, Ross, thanks for the question. I think the main thing that we say, I think adoption is a bit faster than we had expected. That's huge, guys. That's huge. Like, once again, Lisa Su is not just some pump around here, like just saying stuff to say stuff. When Lisa Su things says adoption is going a bit faster than expected, that's really good news for AMD. Again, whenever you launch a product, we want to make sure we go through the full validation and all of that with our customers. I think there's a lot of interest, broad-based interest in MI355. And so I feel over the last 90 days, I think there's been a significant sort of new customer interest, and that's certainly positive. I will say, I'm sorry, Ross, I'm not going to add, because, this gentleman was trying to push for, kind of like even more detail than maybe Lisa was looking to add here. This gentleman from Deutsche Bank, right? She says our engagement here, but I think there's another piece to this. I think there's also a lot of excitement around MI400 and what we can do there with the Helios rack. And so there's a number of our customers who, based on sort of a strong roadmap that we're showing, they want to get familiar and really work with us earlier in the life cycle, which is, I think, positive. So these customers, which these are big dogs, the Metas and the Googles and all these different companies, all the ones that are spending a fortune, right? They all want MI355, not just for this performance, but to get ready for MI400. So that like, if you're at all worried about like demand for AMD for the next several years, like, don't be. Like, everybody's setting up to increase their spend with AMD in a massive way. They got the appetizer, which was, the first 300 series, 325, right? Now we're starting to get into the dinner course, right? Or maybe the second course of the meal. We could say this is a 4-course meal. And then MI400, we really start getting into the dinner, right? And then everything after that is just dessert at that point in time, man. It's just all dessert on top, right? Now, talking a little bit around 400 here. So they're talking about kind of lead time. She's talking about lead times of like 8 to 9 months, right? We have very strong supply chain. We're preparing these ramps for both MI350 series and MI400. Preparation is ongoing, so we feel we have a very strong supply chain there. In terms of visibility with customers, we're absolutely working with our customers very closely on near-term MI350 series deployments, getting those up as quickly as possible. Again, one of the things about the MI350 series is that is a good going into existing data centers, given she's kind of basically here she was referring to the fact that nvidia is the big dog there, right? And she's talking about her chips, the MI350 series, can just go in there and be successful, essentially, right? Which is, you got to be able to work with everybody. And another important thing they talked about in the conference call that I remember was talking about the sovereign opportunity and how a lot of sovereigns really like that AMD's more an open model, let's call it, right? And here she's talking about ZT systems, right? And how the rack scale deployments and everything, and how that's going to be a big thing for MI400 in the clusters. Now, here the gentleman, this was actually really fascinating to me. Okay, he was trying to push Lisa on, tens of billions of dollars of revenue coming from these chips and things like that. He's trying to push her on 2027, right? And she didn't really fall for the bait there, right? She said, yes, I mean, without being specific, Joe, I can see sort of the way, back at this notion that we're incrementally more confident, right? Meaning she's, her and the company are more and more confident they're going to be able to do, this tens of billions of dollars number, right? I think we're seeing a lot of positive signs from our AI customer adoption. I think the strength of the MI350 series, that is very positive feedback, and what we're getting on MI400 from customers. The work that we're doing in terms of ensuring that we're fully ready for large scale elements of not just inferencing, but training, which is also big, right? I think when we get to the tens of billions of dollars, we're talking about significant gigawatt scale type deployments, and those would be important for us to get there. And we're certainly, I think, engaged with all the right customers to enable that type of ramp, but I won't necessarily speculate on the exact time, right? I respect that about Lisa Su. Guys like Elon Musk, when their business is going right, he pumps. He pumps still even when the business isn't going right? We're going to do this, do that. When Tesla's business model was really on fire back in like 21 into 22, Elon Musk kept bringing up, 50% growth, right? Would just pump it 50% growth, and obviously that didn't come true at all, right? Lisa Su just doesn't engage in that. And even, with another investment of mine, Palantir, Alex Karp there, right? I don't like some of the stuff he's talking about. 10x revenue with less employees and all this stuff, right? And, it's easy to say that when your business is really on fire. But here we have, AMD in one of the best positions of any public company, and Lisa Su just doesn't engage in anything that could be like pump type activity, right? Which I appreciate in a massive way. I understand if people have short-term call options on AMD, they probably don't like that. They want to just say, 2027, we're doing tens of millions, or, we're $50 billion, just throw numbers out there. But listen, as a long-term investor, I appreciate that in a massive way, okay? So the moral of the story is here with AMD, I can't find a more exciting stock really for this next 24 months, right? I just can't. when I think about the numbers that are going to be pouring in for the next 4 quarters when it comes to MI350 series, right? And it's not like after 4 quarters those chips aren't going to sell. No, they're going to keep selling, right? For many companies and many elements. But then when I think about once we get to MI400, likely around this time next year, like, oh my gosh, the numbers are going to be crazy in 27 for MI400, in my opinion. And that's going to be a several year just incredible growth opportunity. And so I can't find a more exciting opportunity in the market, honestly, right now than AMD. And I think, Wall Streeters that are selling the stock today at 160 will be gladly buying it at 260 before you know it. And that's the name of the game, okay? Appreciate y'all for joining me as always. Once again, if you're looking to apply, join a private stock group, private wealth group, get access to 1000xstocks.com, private Discord chat, all that good stuff. That will be pinned comment down there. See you back in Vegas. Much love and peace.